I think I'll be the 175 season champ. I got the 155. I took second last time. Like Andy Varela barely beat me. So man, I don't think there's anybody this season that's gonna be able to beat me. So yeah, I think that's everything there is to say. I think some of the matches that, like, if I have like a rematch from like with like Elijah Carlton, will be, I think it'll actually be a little bit of a harder match. I think back in season 6, just me being 17 gave me a huge advantage over everybody else in that 1 week format. By the end of the season, most of those other guys were like pretty dead, but I was fine.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Raf Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. I am having a phenomenal day, and I'll tell you why. We discovered where this young man was. He was missing. He was MIA. I put a bat signal out to him. He mutes the bat signal sometimes, but we found him. We'll get to the bottom of that in a second here. But first, before we go any further, if you like the show, and I hope that you do, I would love it if you check us out at patreon.com/grappling hour. But Raf, what do I get if I go to patreon.com/grappling hour? Well, for $5 a month, you can see my interviews 30 days before everybody else. And for a few extra dollars, you can see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including tape studies with the athletes, where we watch the matches with them and we get to know what's going on inside of their brains. And this includes people who have competed for the UFC, PFL, Bellator, and all the major grappling organizations, not limited, but including, of course, PGF, EBI, Combat Jiu Jitsu, you name it. We've had people watch the matches with us. So that is for our exclusive premium members. But you can also see other segments called Roast Raf, where people roast my competition footage. Your favorite segment, not mine. You can also see another segment where we call the Grappling Hour Challenge. We give an athlete a submission. We put them on a deck of cards. They pick one out at random, and they have 2 minutes to hit that on me. The caveat is I get to roast them while it's happening. So we have done that with William Tackett, Cody Steele, John Combs, and just recently one Chris Wojcik. So you can check that out on our premium side for our good friends over at patreon.com/grappling hour. You can also get you some Grappling Hour merch if you head on over to rafesparza.com/merch. Get you a tank top, a hoodie, a t-shirt, and starting in 2026, if you wear a tank top and you are questionably on steroids, we will look the other way as long as it is a Grappling Hour t-shirt. Just saying. Wear the stuff. We won't call USADA on us. But if you're wearing somebody else's t-shirt, say like a BJJ Mental Models, I'm going to call it on you guys. I'm going to be like, that dude's on steroids. Look at him. Test him right now. So check that out. You can get that rafesparza.com/merch. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, maybe you don't like me, but you might like Jett. So like for that reason. So like, comment, subscribe. And if you don't know what you want to comment on, by the end of this video, I will give you something to comment on in the comment section. So I'll give you a prompt at the very end if you stay tuned all the way in. Last but not least, if you enjoy the conversations we have here on the show, you can check us out at our Discord at Grappling Hour. All right, let's get into it. Our guest. Okay, where do I begin with this young man? Obviously, we met him on his road as a baby 2.5 years ago for the PGF. Young kid, very talented. We like him a lot. And we've seen him do incredible things inside of the PGF and outside of it. We've seen his Aoki lock. We've seen incredible things from him, including a huge PGF win in Season 8 as an individual. I've had the opportunity to roll with our guest. It's very good. I like him a lot. he might have forgotten to do this interview. Now, listen, he is lucky that he is a beloved member of our community. He is lucky that he probably can submit me if given a back take, and really, really good at doing other things as well. I'm really glad I didn't actually have him try to Aoki lock me. That could have been a problem. I like walking. But this young man is making amends. He is making it right. We rescheduled the interview, and I'm happy to have season 8 winner of the PGF and soon to be featured on yet another season of the PGF, one Jett Thompson. Jett, how are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Very well. It is great to see you. Now, explain to me the methodology behind this. When you said you forgot about it, it's mostly because you silence your settings for your Instagram, which I think is a good habit to have. So what prompted you to start doing that practice of silencing your Instagram notifications?
Mm-hmm. No, I was just trying to stop doom scrolling this year. So, I well, I just put I got this app called Opal, and you can set these like timers on it where, basically I can only have like a Instagram open for 10 minutes, like 5 times a day. But I wish it would do it where it didn't silence the notifications, so I could like see when people message me. But
well, we learned a valuable lesson here. It was more so that when it happened, I just thought, Jett's not doing this maliciously. It's just he forgot, And the hard part is, it happened to be on a day when I was about to do a bullpen, which means I'm live, and your name got brought up. And I couldn't help myself in that moment. Normally, I don't reveal inside baseball stuff. But on that day, I was like, yeah, Jett missed an interview. And people were like, oh, did he? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. We'll reschedule. He knows. We'll chat with him later. And I had told you, I was like, hey, man, I'm so sorry. I had to bring you up on the show. And you're like, yeah, I totally get it. So I appreciate you having a good sense of humor about it.
Of course.
So, Jett, here is the beginning and the opening questions for you. You're coming back to the PGF. What left do you have to do? Because this is your 3rd season in the PGF. And for us, we've already seen you win. So why can't you let somebody else win in a different weight class? Because I'm pretty sure when they said 175, they were like, maybe, just maybe, no Jett Thompson this season.
Oh, man, I don't know why they were thinking that, man. I gotta go get that 175 title. So I took 2nd last time, so I gotta win it this time.
Well, you did signal one thing, and this is a relief to everybody else in the 155 division. You did tell us, you're like, that's not happening again. Are we still in that mindset?
They would have to pay me a lot of money for me to do 155 again. It's not that it's like I can't do it. Like, I could definitely cut to 155 again, but they'd have to pay me enough for it to be worth it. I got to get skinny up to do that. So
you say that, but the rest of the season, you were not 155 skinny. So yeah, you do it once, but I definitely rolled with a guy who did not feel 155 pounds. I will tell you that much, because that was way later in the season. And Jett, we should probably also tell the people this, because one of my favorite memories, and I've mentioned this to Travis and to Cam, was of season 8, getting to go out to dinner with you guys. A lot of the times I interview you, it's very business, it's very professional, and getting to see a different side of you guys at dinner made me laugh because I could see all the different personalities at play. However, I might have killed you that night, and I feel bad about it. So do you mind telling the people what happened as an unfortunate spice incident on the day of our dinner?
Oh my gosh. We were at a Thai food restaurant, and I was like, I don't know what spice level to get. I'm trying to like remember the details. And you were like, oh, like, do you like spice? I'm like, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I can't remember what, I think you told me to get like a 3 or something. And I was like, all right. And it was so spicy. I don't even think I finished everything.
You were trying. You didn't stop.
I was trying to finish.
Yeah, you didn't stop out of the true competitiveness of you. And the thing is, it wasn't a challenge from me. It was just me saying like, hey man, I think you'll like it. If you like spice, get a little bit on that. So it was maybe a 3 or a 4 out of what might have been 6. And before I knew it, I could see you sweating. And I have to be honest, I've seen you in matches that are pretty intense. You weren't sweating like that in those matches. Yep. So I saw you like that and I go, oh no, I hope I'm not tanking his season. I feel terrible about this. And then I'm watching you do it and it just felt like you were being tortured and that I was watching it and I go, I think this is my fault. And then I just kind of looked at Travis and I looked at Cam and I go, I thought the kid could do spice. Like he's a thrill seeker, obviously, by doing a sport like this. So you would think an adrenaline junkie has had some spice in there. And I didn't know the spice level at this restaurant. So I'm glad you made it through. But the next day you were telling us, you were like, it wasn't a great night. So I said, oh, I felt bad about that.
Yeah, man, it was definitely spicier than I prefer. I think I'll get like a 1 or a 2 next time.
You know, next time I'm just shutting my mouth. I'm not saying anything. Now I'm just like, get whatever you want, kid. Don't listen to Uncle Raf here. He knows nothing. But I do want to bring up something, and I brought this up to Travis and to Kevin, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So we got to train for like a heartbeat when I went to go visit the Kings. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if you noticed, after we trained, there was like a big upswing in points for you again because you started submitting everybody. Now, I don't know how much I'm responsible for your season 8 win, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how responsible am I for the upswing in points from you, sir?
Yeah, I'd put you up there. I would say you're maybe like an 8.5. That you have like the old man back defense where you're like you get them out and you're like pinning your shoulders on the mat. I think that probably helped me finish.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you referred to that as the old man defense. Our friends here out in California lovingly refer to it as Raf guard. So a lot of the times I'll literally just kind of, somebody called it a coffin defense, where I just do this. And part of it is if I'm rolling with somebody like you that is young and has tons of energy or is strong, I'm just like, I'm bored. I'll reverse Uno most people, not you, but I'll reverse Uno what most people are doing to me. And then they're always pissed because they did something really well to get to a mount position. And then they get submitted and they're like, why do I roll with you? And I go, this is what I'm good at. We don't choose our superpowers. This is the dumb skill set I get. When you did that, you were like, I'm going to murder Raf. And I said, that's fine. But I also make it a point, just so we're revealing everything, with Dom, I went into his guard. With you, I 100% said I'm going to give him my back. Here's the reason why. I'm a big proponent of, if you know somebody is very proficient and skilled at a certain thing, I want to see it up close. Like, I want to experience it. I want to know what you're good at. And one of the things that you were being commented on all season was, damn, Jett's not finishing people, or Jett's not getting numbers, or Jett's not doing this. And I go, he's winning every match. So let me see what your back take felt like. And oh my God, it's phenomenal. You have a great attention to detail on that. And I could see the momentum shifting in your way, but I just knew. I was like, yeah, he's getting all these weird bad breaks of people just doing whatever they can, worse than me, not to get submitted. So for you, now with some time and perspective on it, how are you able to look back at that season? And for you, me aside, how are you able to attribute what was the thing that really turned around for you?
I think it was, a lot of it was just like being a little bit more violent with the finish, like once I got to the back. And I think a lot of it too was I did fight a lot of, I think probably like the more defensive opponents at the beginning of the season, and I fought like the opponents I fought more towards the end of the season were like more willing to like kind of like try harder to escape instead of just like defend. But No, I think a lot of it was just like the mechanics of like my chest to back connection. I ended up working that a lot, that like the third or fourth week or something. Like keeping my chest like low enough to their back where it was easy for me to wrap up the neck.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was actually training with somebody who's a pretty good training partner for me. And he came in, and I'm a big proponent of when I lead a class, I usually start with Q&A. So I'll go like, hey, I haven't seen you guys in a week or in a couple days. Do you have any questions from the last time I saw you? Or even from, I have them roll to begin with for light rounds. And I go, do you have any questions based off your rolls or since I've seen you last? One guy raises his hand and he goes, Coach, what do I do on back takes? And I had him roll for a little bit and I was watching him. And I was like, hey, man, I know it's going to sound dumb, but if your chin isn't monitoring the shoulder, your head's not monitoring their head, and your back, their back isn't to your chest, that's it. I go, your back is to my chest and all that sort of stuff. Or my back was, compromised. I go, but if you keep your chin here, I can't escape out the way you think I can. Right. It was the wrong thing to tell him because after that, this kid was on my back. And I go, why did I do this? I should just tell them wrong information. So I felt happy as a coach. But then when I was training with him, I was like, uh-oh, it's going to be way harder to get out of his stuff. Yeah. But you're right. It's a small attention to detail. And I would pose it this. You mentioned that you got hit with more defensive grapplers. It's not just that. It's that these top tier ranked individuals in your weight class just went hyper defensive because of the offense you were putting on them. So like you had really high seeds that you were going with early, which we knew would be good matches, but you turned them into such defensive machines that they went to draws, and their win was to make sure they were just not letting you score points. And then mid-season, it looked like you made this correction. And yeah, you had some other people who weren't as high as seeded as they were because a lot of yours was front loaded. But it was more than that. It's more than just saying like these are not quite as good as those guys. You just really went way more locked in for the rest of the season. And I felt like once you turned that corner, it was a no-brainer and you end up as one of, if not the highest scoring individuals of the season. So there was that. Where did we fall on that? Did Egg screw that up? Were you the top point scorer of season 8?
No.
Okay, what happened there? Because I thought we pronounced you as the top scorer, and I was like, oh, cool. And how did you take that when those numbers were wrong?
Yeah, I kind of figured I think like it was like the 4th or the 5th night of the regular season that I got screwed up, but I remember like thinking like one night I was talking to Rayfield and he was like, man, how'd you get so many points? And I was like, oh, I don't know. That's weird. I thought it was kind of weird. I didn't really look too much into it. Then it was like a few days before the finale and they were like, oh, wait, we screwed this up. And then they ended up redoing all the brackets and stuff. I was like, oh, man. Yeah, but man, I think I ended up as like third, and then Dom was number 1.
Does that change anything for you? Does that make you look at anything any differently, or do you even care about that sort of stuff?
I mean, not really. I was like, when I got it and I was like, oh man, I just lost my seating in the bracket. I was like, that sucks. But I mean, I beat everybody at the playoffs anyway, so I was all right with it.
That's fair. I wondered because after that, there was a part of me that thought, do we need to fire Egg? Like, is he relieved of this position? Because it was such a massive difference in what it was going to mean for the rest of the season.
Right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it definitely like took a while to correct on it too. If it was like just like a few days and they realized, you're like, all right. But I mean, it was like up till like the day of or the day before the playoff, where it was like they realized it. So
let's talk about this as well. Okay, so now we're in a great phrase because you went as a number 1 seed, and that's got to be a cool feeling. But
Hmm.
now you're actually the first franchisee. Like you're the first person to come back to a team and to be signed on to stay with that team. So it might be obvious to some people if they've seen you interact or they've seen the way the Kings conduct themselves. But for you, what was the reason you decided to re-sign with them and stay with this team?
Man, I just really enjoy the team, like the Kings aspect, and I mean, they treat me really well. They were paying for a bunch of meals. They were doing all this stuff, and then uh, they're having Ricky Lundell as the coach this season, and we went to train with him. Oh, I don't know. I think it was like the third or fourth week of the season. We went and trained with him, and I really enjoyed it. And then he was like kind of helping me coach the rest of the season. So I was like, oh, like I really like this guy. And then they announced him as the coach, and I was like, oh yeah, like I would love that. So I think that was definitely a big part of it for me.
Got it. Ricky
But
Lundell, me. I see how you had your turnaround now. So
that
it's like
it's
kind of
the combo.
I'm gonna talk with Ricky. I'm gonna say I'm willing to share credit on Jett's turnaround with Ricky, of all people, mostly because I feel like he did some good work. So
I'm gonna need both of you this next season. I'll have like 21-point days every day.
I'm gonna tell you this much though. We may need to start drafting people in my particular space because I saw how much you put away, and I'm just saying, kick that on over. I will tell you, I have considered doing media consultations because I've seen some of the post-match interviews or interviews that aren't with me, where sometimes I go, yeah, these guys are going to start learning they need to hire PR people pretty soon, and think there might be a lucrative racket for your boy over here. I would tell you this though, just from an observation standpoint, especially when I saw you at team dinner or I saw you in practices or I saw you around,
Mm-hmm.
even though the Kings weren't necessarily winning on team points, I saw a different side of you that got to loosen up, especially compared to your first season. And that maybe you had
Yeah.
been there, maybe you had kind of understood a little bit better. But I felt like the team dynamic really pulled out a different side of you. So even when you guys weren't winning, how would you describe your team's dynamic? And do you feel that it brought out a different side of you, having a team that even when you guys weren't winning, you really did get along with each other and got a different side of you to show?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was definitely different. Like coming into a team this time compared to last time back in season 6, where this time I came in more as like the team leader. As I remember, like way like back in season 6, I came in and like Hinata was the guy. He was the guy. We were training at his gym and all this. But then I came in and I was the number one pick and I was like the head guy for the team. So it was cool coming in as like the team leader and like getting to like help the guys where I can. So it was really cool being that aspect of the team, and it was like a really different look. It was my first time being in that position, so I really enjoyed working with the guys for the 5 weeks where you're out there.
Very cool. This time, are you going to be staying the whole time or are you doing a back and forth?
No, I'll be staying the whole time. I got Kings. They have an Airbnb for the whole team, so I'll be staying out there for. Uh, they're doing it all back to back, so I guess it'd be 6 weeks now.
Yeah, this time there's not that break in between the playoffs for a long period of time. I think we had 2 weeks that last time where there was space between the team finale and then the playoffs. So yeah, this week I think is just a brushed 6.
Yeah, 6 weeks straight.
Let me ask this as well, because for you, not only are you the first franchisee, but we also learned that teams could have 2 players that they could sign before the draft even happens. So what was your reaction when you saw your fellow teammate, a former New Hope individual himself, Cam Hurd,
Mhm. No, I was really excited to see Cam was on there. He was my teammate back in season 6, so it was really cool to have Cam as a teammate again. And he's man, I don't even know how many seasons of PGF he's done. I know he's done quite a few though. So it's definitely really cool to have Cam as a teammate. And Cam's a really cool guy. I really love like hanging around Cam. Uh, yeah, and I think he'll be a really big asset to the team. And like I know they're not really like when they're looking at their team, they're not just looking at the people. Like when they're drafting a team, they're not like, oh, this guy's the best jiu-jitsu, this guy has the best jiu-jitsu. No, they're wanting to draft on character and on moral because they're building a franchise. It's not just about the win. It's about like how your athletes look on the mat because they're trying to sell a product. So, but yeah, yeah, I really enjoy. I think Cam's going to be a great teammate.
And you guys are going to essentially be leading this new group of people. And
Mhm.
you're right. There is a certain set of morals and ethics and way that you carry yourself that the Kings want to uphold. And that is a very
Right.
cool thing. So you and Cam have some similarities in that world. And I feel like, yeah, I'm happy you guys are there together. I think the interesting thing for me is, and I've said this to both Cam and to Travis and Kevin, I think the real story is going to be Cam was referred to as a stopper before. Now he has gone on this incredible journey from his ADCC competitions. He's become this even bigger machine. I'm very interested to see what the 2026 version of Cam looks like in the PGF with his
Yeah.
experience, with his pace, and with the resources of the Kings.
Right, man. Cam's been killing it since he was on back in season 6 when I was on. I think his game has like improved exponentially. He's got I think he's stayed very steady with like his wrestling base, but he's added a lot more submission opportunities into his game. So I think that's going to play a big part in PGF. And then another thing with the 5 week season, like we have like pretty different games, but I think we can like complement each other training for the 5 weeks. Last time, like back in season 6 when it was 1 week format, it's it's almost like it was like almost kind of like a glorified quintet thing. Like you don't really know these people that well, but you're competing with them for the week. So, but with the 5 week season, you're really just getting to be with your teammates, train with your teammates. It's a lot more like an actual sports team than uh, just like go and meet these guys for the week. So I think our games will like complement each other very well, training together also.
Absolutely. And I mean, that brings up an interesting thing. Have you weighed in on certain preferences now that we're starting to see more and more names emerge with Kevin and Travis? Like, are you giving your input as well in terms of, hey, have you guys considered this person? Or, oh, I saw now this person's as a part of a free agency when the draft comes up?
hmm yeah, I have like two people I have in mind. I really want to get drafted. I think one Travis Haven is I've trained with him up in Ohio. I think he's going to be a very very underrated pick. I feel like he'll be like almost the Landon Elmore this season where well I think Landon got drafted for like 14 1500
Hmm.
back in the last season. I think that's kind of be going to be the boat that Travis is in. Then
And
also my buddy Parker, I think he's going to perform really well this season.
I
He's
was about
got
to say, I was like, if I didn't hear Parker's name, I felt like I might get a note from his parents because, Parker recently came on the show and a lot of his history is tied with you. So
right.
now, not only are you in this world as a vet, but now you have a friend coming in. How does that feel to be a witness to somebody who they're talented and what the PGF is like, seeing them come together?
Man, it's kind of crazy, We've been training together since we were what like 10, 11. So it's definitely crazy for like him to like come into the PGF now too. It's just crazy. Like the two Oklahoma boys that like nobody like ever thought of like when I would say we're probably like the two best athletes not to come out of like a big state, like the two best young athletes.
Or now you guys are just putting Oklahoma on the map even more. Like,
True.
that's really what it's coming down to, because Parker is this assassin that, if you're just looking at the kid, he looks like the nicest kid that's going to tell you where the book club is at your local high school. But this dude's a freaking assassin, and it is incredible to see his run and that you know his talent, you know what he's capable of. But have you started to consider the possibility that your team doesn't get him? Are you prepared for that? Because now it adds a little bit more where it's not just somebody who's maybe been on your team. This is like a lifelong friend you could be potentially competing against.
I mean, we've competed together before. Like back in the day, we used to do like the AGFs, like every weekend, and us being like the same weight, pretty much same age, we'd end up in the same divisions a lot. So, but I think it would be really cool. It'd be like a step up, Like we used to compete with each other like AGF back in the day, just meeting each other in finals as teammates, and now it'd be like, oh, now we're meeting each other at PGF. So I think it'd be a really cool evolution, like of like our growth and just be like going from like competing with each other as like yellow belts, as orange belts, to competing with each other like at PGF, like on live broadcast. I think that'd be really cool.
Well, he also very kindly referred to you as his best friend. So I feel like anytime you guys, if you're not on the same team, you may have to go up against each other. I may have to say, well, you are aware Parker's best friend, Jett Thompson, is facing him later on today. I guess the question is for you, is he your best friend?
Yeah, he definitely is. He moved though. He moved to Florida, so I haven't been able to see him a whole lot. So we were getting ready to do a camping trip, but we ended up having to cancel it too. We were getting ready to get lost in the Everglades this time.
Yeah, listen, when I said you had missed the day to do our interview, everybody was like, is he lost somewhere in the Everglades? Is he lost somewhere on a camping trip? And I go, I don't know. I mean, it's a possibility. I can't disclose that idea as being false. So I love that the word on the street is just like, if he's not here, is he alive? And I go, I don't want to think that way. I just want to hope he forgot.
Yeah, it'll definitely be great. We're gonna have to do another Zion trip in between the weeks. So
that's very cool to see. And I mean, it is very interesting to see Parker also already getting his moniker. Like, he's already gotten a nickname. And Jett, you've been in this beast for like 3 seasons and we haven't given you a nickname. Do you feel a little robbed? Because this kid literally just stepped on the stage and in 1/2 second they gave him a nickname, and yet here we have a season 8 champion, no name to be found.
Well, no, didn't BMAX start calling me the kid back in my first season. They didn't really do anything with me the second season, but they started. I'm pretty sure they started calling me the kid in the first season. It didn't really stick, but they did. But also, I have a pretty cool name, like Jett Thompson. So I feel like I've never really needed a nickname.
Take that, Parker. Anyway, I guess what we're talking about here, though, is sure, they did call you the kid, and that's a fun moniker because you were the youngest person in the league, so that checks out. Like, aside from me, I think anybody's hard-pressed to just call you a kid now. Like, that's part of the reason it doesn't stick. Now you're a 3-time vet in some of the most difficult seasons of the PGF. So Yeah, it doesn't quite work for us now, but especially when you consider the fact that Jett, how old are you right now?
18.
You're 18, third season in on the PGF, kind of one of those youngest vets that you could ever have in our sport. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting if you and Parker are on the same team. I don't know how safe people's legs are, honestly. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way. But I feel like that would be a cool bonding opportunity. And maybe you get to make up for lost time in not seeing
Yeah.
each other for a bit. So, Jett, let's ask this. You know, obviously winning season 8 was really good. Being a runner-up in season 7, you know, incredible, or season 6, you know, incredible. You do all these things that have done incredible accomplishments in the world of jiu-jitsu since. What have you been up to since we've seen you in the PGF? Like, what have you been doing? What does a champion do after an incredible run like that?
Oh man, after PGF, has pretty much just started getting ready for trials after that. Which, man, I had a pretty good run in trials. I had like 3 subs, and I ended up losing to Borneman. I got kind of lucky draw. I had him to round 16. But no, I haven't really done anything crazy. I guess just training, uh, getting ready to fix the alternator on my car. I've been like getting ready for that for the last little bit, and yeah, just training mostly.
So wait, you are repairing your own car when you say your alternator? What does that mean?
My alternator's out, so I don't know. I'm like split because I have a Volkswagen, so it's you can't just like take it into any shop. There's not a whole lot of people that work on it, and the people that do know, so they charge a lot. So I'm debating if I should go pay a lot of money to have somebody else fix it, or if I could just figure out how to do it myself. It's one of those things where it's like you you can do it at home, but it's not easy. You like I have to like take like half the bumper off, like pull it and then replace it. So I don't know. I'm figuring out which way I want to go with that.
Do you need to figure this out soon before you make your way to the PGF? Do you have to drive out to the PGF, or are you flying out?
No, yeah, I need to figure it out soon. I gotta.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just wanted to make
definitely
sure.
figure out before the PBF season.
So wait a minute. Did you bring your car out last season?
Yeah, I brought it out last season. No, like drove. It's I think it's like 14, 15 hours from Oklahoma City to Vegas.
See, that wasn't the question here. The question that follows up now is, were you letting Anthony or somebody use the car? Because I felt like that was a bad choice given Anthony's specialness.
well, I gotta like special. It applies to both Anthony's, Anthony Molina, Anthony Gojani. But yes, I was like my girlfriend had a fight like one weekend, so I was like flying. I was just gone Friday to Sunday to go watch her, and uh, like I was driving Anthony Molina around because we stayed at the fighter house together. And I was like, "Hey, you can use my car while I'm gone. I don't care." But then he ended up the battery went dead at like a Walgreens or something. So then they couldn't. I don't know why they couldn't figure out how to jump it. So I guess one of them, I think John Chandler had AAA, and he got him to like tow the car back to the house. But yeah, I ended up having to like change the battery out in Vegas. So,
Jett,
yeah.
what did you learn from this, if anything? Because I could have told you this is a bad plan. If I was living in this house, you're a kind individual. That's very sweet of you to give your car to them. I would have gotten the old school club and put that on my wheel and been like, nobody touches my car. I don't trust you guys. All of you are suspect at what you do. God bless, and I'll see you later. And yet you said, here's my keys. Enjoy. Talk to you guys later. So what was the reaction when they called you and said, bad news, bud? The battery, something, I don't know, man. Something happened. Come fix it. Anyway, bye. Talk to you soon.
Well, uh, I think I actually saw it on a Gojani story before they even called me. They were like, man, my car was like trashed. And they found like a banana peel in the back seat or something. And I saw that on Gojani's story. I was like, what are y'all doing? And yeah, man, yeah, I guess, you live and you learn, I guess I won't let them borrow my car next time.
Good. I'm glad that that is the takeaway now, is that you're like, you know what? In retrospect, I won't. So we've made some progress. But if I were to say somebody you could trust, I feel like you can trust Cam with your car.
Yeah, I would definitely trust Cam.
So
I feel like I don't know my team yet this season, but I feel like it's going to be a lot less tism through in the 175 than the 155 season.
well, they hit you pretty hard with the Anthony squared. It's just they have very different styles of differentness, because when I was interacting, even like at the dinner table, I felt like there was 4 different conversations happening at once, and most of them involved them. And that as I was trying to have quality time with every single person and saying like, hey, let me talk with you for a minute. Let me talk with Anthony for a minute and go Johnny for a minute. And, just trying to get the senses of everybody. And there were a couple moments where something would be said and I kind of shoot Travis this look like, this is what you've been dealing with. Yes. And he would just kind of shoot me a knowing look back like, yes. And I couldn't say anything yet because I didn't know, but I might have known. When I'm looking at Cam and I go, what are you doing here? Seems awful suspicious you're here, Cam. When there's another season we're always planning. Anyway, I don't know anything officially. So I put 1 and 1 together and I was like, looks like he might come back. All right, cool. So as I'm looking at Cam and I'm looking at him being like, hey, bud, this might be in your future later too. I just knew this is an interesting group of guys. But having said all that, incredibly fun, very interesting to watch you guys interplay. And then adding to all of the mix is the silent observer of Juan, who's just entertained the whole time. Like literally taking it all in and smiling. And I go, I think I might have been Juan if I was any one of you guys.
Yeah, man. Juan's just like the normal guy, just like sits back and just like, he's like the older brother, just like watching everybody like go crazy in the living room, and he's just like sitting back like this.
See, even that doesn't fully explain how he was smiling as I was watching him watch you guys. Like he's just like almost the equivalent of like somebody with popcorn and be like, this is amazing. Because he's living it in real time and he knows that this doesn't affect him in a grand sense. It's just like, hey man, I'm just living with you guys for 5 weeks. This is ridiculous. So I laughed a lot at his experience and that. So with that being said, sir, what can you promise us for season 9? Like in your head, what do you see yourself accomplishing this season at the PGF?
I think I'll be the 175 season champ. I got the 155. I took second last time. Like Andy Varela barely beat me. So, man, I don't think there's anybody this season that's gonna be able to beat me. So, yeah, I think that's everything there is to say. I think some of the matches that, like, if I have like a rematch from like with like Elijah Carlton, I think it'll actually be a little bit of a harder match. I think back in season 6, just me being 17 gave me a huge advantage over everybody else in that 1 week format. By the end of the season, most of those other guys were like pretty dead, but I was fine.
With that being said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think the 1 week, the 5-week format evens that out a lot more.
So I hear your individual goal. How important is it now that you're in your third season, now that you're essentially a franchisee and going to be a leader of this team? How important is a team win for you?
Man, I think I would rather have like I don't know. I think I probably would rather have a team win this season. It's man, I took second in the first season I did. I took third in the second season I did. So I think I'm ready for the number one this season, and I think I still think if they would have the draft and the alternates the way they're doing it this season, I think we actually would have won back in the last season. I think we were the best drafted team. But yeah, I I think we're definitely going to win this season. If the draft goes the way that I know the guys are playing in, then I think we're going to win this season without a doubt.
So at what point last season, when they did have these alternates seemingly falling out of the sky, did you kind of look at it and go, that doesn't feel right to you guys? Like, at what point did you see this as being a never-ending surprise train of extended training partners that could be available that maybe you didn't know?
Wait, I'm sorry. Could you say that question again?
Of course. For you guys, you said that you felt like you would have beaten everybody as being the drafted team, right?
Yeah.
So at what point were you watching these other teams somehow bring other people from the side and saying like, hey, we don't love that as a rule set, or that just seems a little awkward that they would be doing that?
Yeah, I mean, so till like the last week when Gojani had to leave, we had like the whole team together. I think it was probably when Rayfield came in. It was like okay, he's clearly better than Armin. Like I wouldn't like I was like all right, that's like whatever. But then when Dom came in for Brady Hilton, I mean it's like man, I love Brady Hilton. I lived with him for a few weeks, but I mean Dom's just like a different level, you know. So I was like, that's not really fair. So I don't know, that kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. But I mean it wasn't in the rules. That was the rule set that season. So I mean, there was nothing wrong with what they did. But I am glad to hear that they are changing the way they're doing that this season.
It's hard to cover the sport sometimes because I tend to know the rules, and I for sure didn't know that was something that was in the cards. So there was a lot of me in real time getting information like, oh, we're bringing this person. I was like, oh, yeah, they're pretty good. Okay, well, you have to play your team unless somebody gets injured. So then you started hearing rumblings of like, nah, we're canning this guy and we're putting this guy in. And I go, guys, I don't know what's going on. You tell me what's happening, because I keep reporting a certain thing. And then it felt like as we were going in real time, we saw adjustments being made or something that would have severe implications. But that was a credit to your team for the majority of the whole run. You guys were together, and I don't think that happened anywhere else.
I don't think so.
So you guys pretty much came the closest to making it toward the end, minus Gojani toward the very end of it. But even he seemed to be a little banged up from what I could ascertain throughout the season. So
yeah,
it was a testament to you guys trying to forge ahead with like what was your pure team. And so this season, just to kind of fill people in, and again, I say this as somebody who is reporting the news of the moment, there is a finite number of free agents that are agreed upon at the very beginning. So that is both of our understandings, correct?
Yes.
Okay. As of now, January 14th, 2026, these are the rules. If you hear from us on March 14th, for whatever reason, going like, you know what, we were wrong, we have no idea anymore, it's chaos, The zoo and animals are running the asylum again. Who knows? But for right now, that is the best information we have. So I would agree, though. I think that having a certain set of rules does help us to understand it from a athletic standpoint or a TV spectator standpoint. I did like some surprises. I did like seeing individuals who I said, man, that complicates things or that makes things interesting. But if I were you guys on a team, I probably would have felt like, hey, could we have known about those people beforehand? So I'm a little torn on sides A and B as both competitor brain and spectator brain. But nonetheless, them's the rules.
Right.
Let's talk about this, Jett. This is the first time you've been on Grappling Hour Pure, meaning the interview side of what I do. I would love to hear your origin story. So for you, obviously your family has always been supportive of your jiu-jitsu, but was jiu-jitsu the very first sport that you played?
No, it wasn't. It's definitely the first thing like I kind of took seriously. I I did like basically everything at the Y. I mean, like I did a season of like a football, did a season of track, a season of soccer. Hey, here, one sec. Sister, go away.
Jett is in the process of clearing out the riffraff from coming into the room, which is, by the way, a pretty awesome thing to see that in there. Just this door opens and I'm like, is somebody going to attack Jett? No, it's a family member. So Jett is clearing out the area and now returning to us back in full capacity. As you were saying, Jett.
Sorry, I'm back. My sisters came in.
You're good.
No, yeah, but I basically did everything at the Y. I did like, I think I did like swimming, soccer, track, football, basketball. I did like I did like a season of all the regular sports. But I was pretty into Taekwondo actually. When we used to live out in Western Oklahoma, I was doing Taekwondo in Elk City. Then like every little boy does T-ball. I did T-ball for a few years.
So when you're playing these other sports, we'll get more to the martial arts side here in a second. You played football. You said you even did T-ball. Like, I know you acknowledge more of the martial arts side as the first things you took seriously, but what was your experience like playing those other sports?
I wasn't like, I think the oldest I was in any of that was like 10. So I was never like, it was never something you took seriously. Like, my parents' rule growing up is always like, you have to be doing something. You can't not be doing something. So like my mom, I was homeschooled. So I never did like school sports. So it was like, my mom always had me enrolled in something at the Y, or I was doing like Taekwondo or something. And then, just found jiu-jitsu through doing that.
Let's go back to Taekwondo, though. What about that was speaking to you above the other stuff? Because it feels like it's kind of the entryway toward your side of realizing maybe you're going to head toward jiu-jitsu. But at the time, what did that mean to you?
It was just something like I like to do because we used to live out in Western Oklahoma. Like we were just like 30 miles from like being on the Texas Panhandle. But there's not a lot out there, so my mom just put me in the town over had a Taekwondo gym, and my mom put me in Taekwondo, and I started doing that a few times a week. And we moved to Guthrie, Oklahoma, where we live now, and we kind of like looked for a few like Taekwondo gyms in like around Oklahoma City area, but never really liked a whole lot of them. But my first coach, he was actually just running jiu-jitsu classes out of a shed in his backyard, like a little barn shop. And that's where I started jiu-jitsu. My mom just put me in it because she thought it was the same thing as Taekwondo, and it was a quarter mile from the house. So that's basically how I started jiu-jitsu. My mom just thought it was the same thing as Taekwondo.
a mistake many parents make, but that's okay. We'll take it because it meant we got you. So I don't care how you ended up here. It's a net benefit for the community given your incredible jiu-jitsu competition style. Having said all that, you tell us about your first day. And you mentioned was it kind of like a garage is what you were saying?
No, it was just like a shop in his
Got it.
yard. Like when I started jiu-jitsu, it was like me, my little brother, and like there would be another kid in there sometimes, but it was mostly just me and my little brother. Did classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And
Go ahead.
yeah, basically just did that for a year till I did my first competition, and then because my coach at the time, that guy was a blue belt, and then he started after my first competition because he was training at a gym in Oklahoma, like Edmond, which is like just North Oklahoma City. So he started taking me into Edmond to train with him Tuesday, Thursdays after my first competition.
What do you remember about those first days that he was taking you? Because it felt almost like you were getting kind of like private lessons just based off of you, your brother. What did it feel like to be implemented into more of a class setting as you were starting to learn more about what jiu-jitsu was?
I mean, I'd already like kind of been in there. Like by the time I did my first competition, I had been training for a year, and by that time there was already like maybe like 3 or 4 kids that were also in the program there in his shed. So I did like kind of gotten into it, but yeah, it was definitely different. Man, it's hard for me to like think back that far. That was like 8-9 years ago.
Jett, you're not that old. When you say it's a long time ago, I know 8 years is not last week, but there are those of us who have lived twice as long as you who have somewhat better memories still for some reason. So I just want to make sure that as we get older, we make sure we have the memory still be good with us, because it concerns when you're like, I don't know, man, 8 years ago, who remembers there? I'm like, this guy's still like, dude, I can tell you vivid things. Let's ask this. What's like the first thing that stuck out for you at the very beginning of jiu-jitsu? Like, what was an observation that you had in those very first like year after you're being brought in? You said you already had a team of 8. That's actually pretty cool to see that integration. But then you start seeing what a formalized like big class or like a big different setting starts feeling like. And at some point your brain starts saying like, I want to do this. So like what sticks out to you that makes you want to stick around?
Man, the thing that really made me want to stick around was doing my first competition. I just really enjoyed the like feeling of going out there and competing. And man, I think I was in like the 65 pounds, whatever, 75 pounds or something, kids white belt division. And I lost in no-gi, then I won in gi. But then like I met my coach's coach, the guy in Edmonds. And I was like, oh man, this is really cool. And then like he invited me to go train at his kids class. So yeah, man, I remember like going to that kids class and just being able to get like more rounds in, like an actual like I was, and I think in my mind it was like they were more similar to competition rounds because like at that time I was like the oldest kid in the class. Like I think the kid closest in age to me back at my coach's gym in like the shed was my little brother, and I'm 3 years older than him. So it was like my only like actually like rounds that were like hard were like with the adults, you know. But it was really cool to go train with like kids that were like actually able to train hard with who were my size.
That's awesome. So now we get to these moments on the show where we ask people where you fall in love with the sport. It seems like you were alluding to it with your first competition, but there comes a moment when you kind of realize you like this as more than just a hobby and that you want to do it as a career path. So maybe it was then, but at what point did you say in your brain, I love this so much, this is what I want to do as a profession, because it requires a lot of sacrifice. And I'm not sure if it happens at the first tournament. Maybe it did. But for you, when did it set in that you fell in love with jiu-jitsu?
Oh man, it would probably be in like one of my paying kids camps. So I did 4 paying kids. I know my first one, it was more of like, this is just a bigger tournament to me. Then my second one, I was like, oh man, this is getting to be a big deal. I think that might have been where it was, but it for sure was there by the time I did my third paying kids. And I did like a big camp for that, and then that was the first one I actually ended up winning. And like I had like all subs. That was in 2021. But yeah, I don't remember like the specific moment where it was like me like I feel like there's like a moment where you go from like like when you're a kid, everybody asks you like, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? I feel like there's definitely a moment where you go from just, oh, when people ask me that, this is what I say, to being like, oh, this is actually what I want to do. So, but man, I don't really remember when that was, but it was definitely sometime in that year, like 2021, 2022.
And that's kind of when you said, I feel like I'm pretty good at this. And even independent of that, I have a competitive drive. Like I want to win. And I really do feel like I can make a good run at this. And in terms of being a profession, in terms of being an instructor, a competitor, like I'll make a living off of doing this. That's kind of when you hit.
Yeah, I would say so. And then being able to watch like the people, mostly, I really liked watching Colabate and the Rotolo twins at the time. They were my 2 favorites. And then it was really cool to watch them and the Tackets. So I think watching them, like those not being too much older than me, and like making big steps in jiu-jitsu even back in 2021, 2022 it was really cool to see.
Because at this time, and I was doing the math as you were transitioning into saying that, so you're about 14, 15 when you realize this is what I'm going to do with my life.
Right.
That's pretty impressive, man, because it shows how fast the world of jiu-jitsu is changing. Because even from the very beginning of you stepping into the world of jiu-jitsu, those 8-9 years have been critical for the growth of it. And you coming in right time, right place for the PGF, being an emerging star to now a vet, it's pretty much a perfect timeline for you, because there are plenty of people who, when they're 13 or 14, were like, damn, I love jiu-jitsu. But it's 2007, 2008, where they go, there's not as many opportunities, but if you stay with it, you might be okay. And one thing that's been fascinating is that I loved when before we went on air, you were telling me about how you've been doing current tape study, but you do old school tape study. So you've been looking a lot at somebody like Braulio Estima's run back in the late 2000s. What about him or other people you're tape studying speaks to you that makes you kind of research them and go back that far away to saying like, oh, I can learn more about the future by going back to those stars and learning to see what they did?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really only I don't do a lot of tape study. I really only like to study like the people that are like pretty similar to me. And I think Braulio Estima, he has pretty similar game to me. He has really good body locks. I want to figure out how he does like all his not reverse, like he calls them invisible triangles or like inverted triangles, whatever. But yeah, and he has like a pretty similar body type for me, but in like the 88, like I'm like the 77 version, he's the 88 version, but we have pretty similar body types too. So I think, yeah, I mean, Max Hansen was actually the one that was like kind of like showed me, and I was like, oh man, this gotta be probably a pretty good guy to watch. So, yeah, so I ended up watching all of the old matches of his.
That's awesome. And good on you, dude. I'm glad that you are learning from somebody like him because it's so wild when I don't see him or some of these other people get like the props that they're due, but the esteem
Yeah, I
is
feel like
both of them.
he's like really underrated. Yeah.
And it's
Like,
wild because there's a group of us that grew up with that. So like my formative years of jiu-jitsu as I was learning stuff, those were some of the biggest stars. And I remember right off the bat when I was starting these interviews, I remember running into him and just being able to go up and be like, "Hey, can I interview you?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he had this bright personality, very
mhm,
easy to talk to. And, obviously him being very far from us where he lives, we don't run into each
right.
other often, but he would recognize me and be like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And I go, "That's so wild. This is like one of the best athletes in the sport." And he already knows who I am after like a week. So
Right.
it was a cool thing to experience at that time, but that bright personality sometimes could even overshadow how good he was because he was such a jokester. He's so easy to get along with that sometimes he'd be telling me jokes and I'd go, "Oh, right, dude, you're really good at this." Like I forget, you just get lost in knowing a
Uh,
person as a person, not from their accomplishments.
yeah, not from jiu-jitsu. Right.
So having said all that, I wanted to ask as well, what was like the first move as you were starting to learn jiu-jitsu that really spoke to you that you feel you really connected with or that you felt a quicker mastery of than others?
It was probably an armbar. I had some really good like closed guard arm bars. I think actually I'm pretty sure what it was I broke my arm one winter, and like just like going through all the moves, I found like the closed guard armbar was like the only thing that I could really hit, like really drill closed guard and like mounted armbar. Because I like pull them up with one arm, but my arm was like in a cast, so it was like stuck like this, you know. So I could like pull it and like come through and hook it, and then I just drilled that like a month and a half, and I think that's where I got a lot of it. Actually, was just that was like one of the only things I could do. I had my arm was broken.
Well, the good news for you, given your guard, we know it's pretty good. So I think that time might have paid off. Yesterday, the guy who I was rolling with, good lanky body, but he kept getting kind of surprised that he wouldn't hit a triangle on me. And I was like, well, there's two things that happen here. One, I have a ginormous head. So I'll always have a pocket of air just because of how big this is with my shoulders. I go, but two, you're just not isolating my arm enough. I was like, if you're fast, that's cool. And he's very fast. I go, you want to give yourself some kind of thing, especially if it's not in gi and it's a no gi round. The more my arm is extended out away from me and you can slip in the triangle, the more time you have to set it up. And so
Mm-hmm.
for you, if you only have the one arm and you've got this happening, you're going to learn real quick how to make a triangle happen with just one arm. So you're like, okay,
Right.
two hands is going to be great when I get it back. If I know how to isolate and hit a triangle with just the one arm, oof, two is going to be even easier.
Mm-hmm.
So, with all this being said, Jett, I'm very excited about the prospect of you coming back, you doing a great another PGF season. I would like some perspective because even though you're like, damn, dude, I've been doing this for 9+ years. What do you feel that you have learned the most as a grappler in these almost decade worth of training sessions that you've had?
Uh, you just gotta work hard on like anything that you do, man. It's just like everything that you do is just work and consistency. So you just gotta keep going, and you gotta keep working hard, and you gotta keep working consistently hard. It doesn't always have to be like you go crazy, because that's not you can't go crazy consistently. So you just have to keep a consistent hardworking pace, and I think that's the same with like anything really.
Good on you, Jett. And man, you've been a great shining example of how you can really make the most out of a PGF experience. It's going to be really cool to see you back in another season and doing what you do best. In a second here, I'm going to put the camera on you, but I would love for you to go ahead and, tell the people where they can find you, give thanks to anybody you want to, or give any shout outs you want to, and tell the people what you got coming up in the near future, sir. Camera's on you.
All right. So, I just want to shout out I got my Masters Nick Mattia coming up. I got PGF Season 9 coming up. I have a camp in Greece I'm teaching. If you're out in Europe, then just shout out to my coaches, my family, my teammates. I want to be able to be here doing the things I'm doing without y'all. So, and then also I got my BJJ Fanatics instructional, ankles and Aokis by Jett Thompson, and my closed guard back take instructional in my Patreon. You can go get that through the link in my bio. And also, thank you to my sponsors, Gaidama, Define, for Gaidama always giving me the best gear, and Define always keeping me jacked with the supplements. So.
Literally any supplement company would be happy to have you, but I'm sure they're especially happy to hear I'm jacked because of y'all. So that's
they're on the shelf behind me. You can see them.
I can see them. I see you putting in the work there, sir. Oh yeah,
that one, and this is hard. It's mirrored.
Nice work there, sir. Here's what we're going to do. We have to film another segment here in a second where you're going to tell us your favorite match of 2025. But I just wanted to say congratulations to you on last year again. I'm looking forward to what you and Cam will do with the Kings this year. I think you guys are going to be great, great leaders for this next team. Who knows what's going to happen, but I'm very excited for what it is. And now that I know you're staying there, I'll have to book another day where I come and crash one of y'all's sessions, so that way I can see whatever it is you're working on next, so that I can steal it and give it to my kids, because that's sure what I did when you were doing your back take. I was like, ooh, Jett does this, I'm going to show my kids this. And guess what? A lot of my kids 100% were like, coach, who does this? And I literally showed them a clip of you. I was like, this guy. And they go, oh yeah, he's pretty good. And I was like, yep. So my pain is worth your benefit here, kids.
There you go.
All right, man. I'm going to close this up. My thanks to you, Jett. I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks, but I'll talk to you here in a second.
All right, sweet.
All righty, guys. That's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. My thanks to you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this interview, but before you leave, just a quick reminder, comment, subscribe. And I told you I'd give you a prompt. So here is my prompt to you guys. If you, like Jett over here, had your best friend in the PGF, would you want them on your team or not? Here is the statistical analysis behind that thought. Plus, you and your bestie would be simpatico on strategy, just like Jett and Parker might be. Or do you do what I would do? I know all of his weaknesses, so I want to put him in another team, so that way, guaranteed points. Even better, dude, if I know how to get this guy with rear naked chokes, plus an elbow genie point, oh man, I'm so sorry, dude. I got to sacrifice one. Hope to see you in the playoffs, dude. Bye. So Jett's a better person than me. Jett's already told you he wants him on his same team. Or does he? You'll have to go back to the interview to see what he's talking about there to remind yourself. But tell us in the comment section, would you have your teammate on your team or would you not? So that is your question. As you like, comment, and subscribe. Additionally, patreon.com/grappling hour. See these interviews 30 days before anybody else. And as a reminder, this young man also has a Patreon. You guys should be supporting that. Where is your Patreon, Jett?
Through the link in my bio on Instagram.
Exactly. See, That's a good man. He knows when to plug. Even though he already plugged it once, it takes 3 times for people usually to go do it. So where is that again?
Go to my Instagram, and it's in the link through my bio.
There we go. You heard it a 3rd time. You better go do it and go find out what this young man is working on, because that is how champions are born. So I'm just realizing, though, if you have to choose between our Patreons, though, join my Patreon first, then join his.
I mean, like, opportunity cost, you know, sometimes you gotta, like, drop one to get one. So.
So if you know what, listen, think of it this way. Just do both. You have money. If you go get a coffee, you can support both of us. If you get 2 coffees, you can support Jett's page and my page. But at my page, $5 a month, you see these interviews 30 days before everybody else. Few extra dollars, see extra bonus content, including Roast Raf, tape studies, matches that I love the most from the previous year, additional content, including the Grappling Hour Challenge. You don't want to miss that. Maybe we'll do a Grappling Hour Challenge with Jett. I don't know if I dislike my body that much that I would let him do it. But we will take out the Aoki lock from the list of submissions, because don't want that. So there be that. And last but not least, if you guys enjoy this, of course, you can follow us on our Discord. But before you do that, you're going to get you some Grappling Hour merch, tank tops, hoodies, t-shirts, whatever it is. It really does support the show. And every bit you pay goes directly back into this show. So I thank you guys very much. Ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Grappling Hour. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.
Perfect.